Hey there, I'm Art from Tech Buyers Guru, and in this video I'll be showing you how to install the new Video Doorbell 3 from Ring. Now Ring has a lot of video doorbells on their market, not surprising given that they virtually invented the product category. But you may be wondering, well, what's different about this versus all the other Ring doorbells that I can buy? Well, I should say that previously on the channel I did showcase the Video Doorbell Pro, and that's still a current product at $250. This $200 product isn't a replacement for that or any other product in the Ring line. It's simply adding an additional set of features at the $200 price point and giving you more choices. So it starts all the way down at $100, goes up to $250 and above, depending on the feature set you want, the style you want, and the type of installation you want. Now, this line of video doorbells does give you the flexibility of either installing simply on battery power or using a hardwired setup. I will be doing a hardwired setup so that I don't have to worry about taking the battery out and recharging it from time to time. Now, how this differs from the Video Doorbell 2 is basically threefold. First of all, it does have the 5 gigahertz wireless network, so if you're using a more modern 5 gigahertz router, you can take advantage of the speed of that router. Second of all, you actually have motion zones, and that's something that they're borrowing from their camera line. I'm very familiar with the security cameras, have actually featured them on the channel. The security cameras all now allow you to set motion zones. So for instance, if part of the camera or the doorbell is facing a swing that often blows in the wind or an ornament or a tree, you can actually set that off in the software so that it won't trigger an inadvertent motion alert. And finally, Ring has made a change to the range at which the doorbell actually picks up motion. Previously, all of its video doorbells picked up motion at the 15 to 30 foot range. That's really great if you have a long walk up to your door, but it's not so great if your door faces a busy sidewalk or street. Well, the Video Doorbell 3 has a new motion range from 5 to 15 feet. That's great if you don't want to pick up any motion beyond 15 feet. For instance, if your door is very close to that sidewalk where lots of people are walking by and you might get a lot of inadvertent motion alerts. So there's a lot of new features on the table with the new Video Doorbell 3. Although it's not replacing anything in the lineup, it really feels like a next generation product in the sense that it's building in features that people have been asking for years. Things that for a lot of people are going to be critical. And that's why I think people are going to be excited about this and why I'm excited about testing it out here on the channel today. So without further ado, let's open this box and see what we get inside. So I'll go ahead and show you what you get inside. I'm going to break the seal on this new Video Doorbell 3 and open the box. As always, Ring's packaging is very consumer friendly. Ring really gets the concept of presenting its product well. You get the camera inside. You get a basic manual. Most of the instructions you'll actually find in the app. You get 2 wedges, and these are for angling your camera either down or to the side, and I will be using one of these wedges. You also, of course, get the battery, which Ring recommends that you pre-charge, so it's fully charged once you start up. You also get the alternate faceplate, which I'm going to be using. I don't want the silver faceplate. I want this one. They call it something like bronze, but really it's just kind of gray. You get a huge number of screws, which unfortunately aren't really labeled that well. And you also get the screwdriver, which is self-explanatory. And here's how you insert the battery. And what's nice about this is that you can actually set up all the software before you have it connected to your wall, which means you can do it in the comfort of your home, at your desk, at a table. So I'm going to let it start up here and see what it has to say.
Your Ring device is in setup mode.
I'm going to do the guided setup off camera, and then I'll show you how to connect the hardware. All right, so I'm here with my old doorbell, and I'm going to show you how we take it off. Now, in theory, you have to cut the power on this, but this is very, very low voltage, so I'm really not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Okay, we've got the 2 wires, the 2 power wires there. All right, so I have removed my standard doorbell. It has 2 posts, just like every standard doorbell. You got your 2 wires here. Now, while these look plenty long, they actually aren't long enough to install this because I have to get my screwdriver in against the wall. And here's the problem. See, I can't actually maneuver my screwdriver back here because this doorbell is so wide, right? I can't bend this down and then into place. And making matters worse is I want to use a wedge. I need to use a wedge to tip this away because I want my doorbell to face more away from the door and towards the entryway of my house. So this makes it even harder to maneuver my ring into place, and then these wires are definitely too short, particularly this one. Okay, there's no way I can reach this wire over here to screw it in. So I'll leave that wedge there, and I'll use the extension kit. So the extension kit consists of 2 wire extensions plus a couple of these wire nuts to tie them in. So now I have my 2 extensions connected with the wire nuts. Then I can go ahead and install this wedge on. Of course, the wedge has to go on before the doorbell itself. So I'll go ahead and attach that now. Alright, I've got my wedge installed. Nice thing about the wedge is it gives you plenty of space to store this extra wiring and these wire nuts. Hopefully you won't need the wire nuts if you're not using the wedge. Hopefully your wires will be long enough. Now it's time to install the ring itself. Now the ring does come with a level, a tiny little mini level, which is kind of cute. But actually, if you're using the wedge, honestly, it's the wedge that needs to be level. So yeah, my wedge is level, so I'm pretty lucky there. Okay, so now, before I screw it on, of course I need to attach the connectors. Nice thing about this is you can attach either one to either post. It doesn't matter. So I'll just get these connected. Alright, I now have my wires connected. I can actually test the doorbell by pressing it. Okay, it is secured to the wedge. I recommend you use the orange screwdriver that's included with the kit. I did use my power screwdriver and did actually break the tab here at the bottom of the Ring doorbell because it's just very thin plastic. So unless you're careful with your trigger, you should probably use the manual screwdriver to get it attached. Now I've done my physical installation. I also worked through the chime connection. When you first press this button, you won't hear the indoor chime work. It actually has to set some software to do that, amazingly enough, because this is a lot more complex than your standard doorbell that works as soon as you connect it. So don't be afraid when you connect this at first and you press the button, you don't hear your chime inside. It actually does need to set up the software. Now the motion settings are important here. Are there steps or a hill? In my case there are. I did set up a wedge. It's telling me I need a wedge. I knew that already. Does your door face a street? And this is where you have to actually set a shorter range. If you face a street, of course you're going to pick up every car going by. I'm going to say no because I don't face a street. And how far from your door should motion be monitored? And I'm going to say, well, honestly, 5 to 15 feet. I don't care if someone's further away. So that's actually a new feature of the Doorbell 3. The 5 to 15 foot range is really good. Okay, so your motion settings have been saved. And I'm going to skip the motion zones. Well, I'll show you actually what the motion zones look like. So the motion zones are if, for instance, you have like a porch swing or perhaps a wind chime or something that's going to constantly be spinning. And in the view of my Ring, I actually do have a little wind chime. So we may find that it doesn't work, but for now I'm just going to leave it on. Tap. I'm going to leave it all open because most of it's just facing a wall. Okay, changes take effect the next time this device detects motion. That's because then it actually uploads to the cloud. When it's not detecting motion, it's not actually actively connected. Okay, got it. And how often should doorbell capture motion and sound? I'll say standard. Frequent would be shortest battery life, and then light maximizes battery life, but catches less motion. And there isn't a lot of motion at my door, so I'll use standard. Is there anything else? Shared users, I'm going to skip, and I'll say I'm done. So let's test it. Here's my doorbell. I've named it, creatively enough, Doorbell. I'm attempting to get the live view here, and it's saying my phone connection is very weak, which unfortunately is a lie. There's nothing wrong with my phone connection, I know that. So for some reason Ring has decided that in its software every time that its device is slow it's going to tell you your phone connection is weak, but that is not correct. Okay, so I'm live here. You can see my hand moving. If you go to full screen, there we go. It's catching a lot of light. I have a light shining on me, but yeah, this is live, right? That's how it looks. I can turn on the speaker. I'll get a infinite loop here. So I turned off the mic on here. But there you go. I'm set up. So the next step is to install the security screw to ensure that people don't remove your battery from your doorbell. It uses a special screw tip, and that's included in the package. So this has a reversible screwdriver. So I'm going to use the security screw tip. Note that this is really easy to lose, and I actually already lost one of the two that this package came with. I'm a little bit concerned about, in the long run, if you have to do this often and it's over a deck or something where this tiny screw can fall in between the slats. That's probably why they include two, but don't be surprised if you lose one right away. So it's a little bit inconvenient. Luckily, you don't have to change this battery all that often. It gets a tiny little bit of current from the doorbell itself, the doorbell wiring. The battery is just simply topped off, and it doesn't get enough constant current from the doorbell chime to keep this camera running. So you actually do need this battery, and it's constantly charging at a very low level. That's how this whole system works. That's why you're able to use the very low powered current from your doorbell chime. The battery is basically getting a very slow charge all the time. But just keep in mind, if you have a lot of motion around your doorbell, it's going to deplete, and you will need to take this out and actually manually charge it by plugging it in via USB. So the last thing I'll show you is what happens when I press the doorbell. I actually get a message here, someone is at your door. I can tap on it on my phone to see, and there I am again. Okay, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.